Dustin Boydell. Dropping a 20 bomb for all my swears tonight. I appreciate you covering the spread.
What's going on, my dude? How's your Friday night going?
Oh my gosh. I have never seen such terrible refereeing in my entire life. That
Welcome
was
to the AHL,
brutal.
buddy. Yeah, I can tell you right now, that guy's never making it to the NHL.
No. Let's count it, because there was, like I said, there was 3 that were blatant, right? There was an attempt on breakaway, shorthanded. The man gets taken down before he gets to the puck. Interference. 2-on-1, same thing. The man gets tripped, right? And then in the corner, man gets slew-footed. Nothing. Like, all blatant.
Yeah,
There's nothing else you're watching.
Oh, I know. Mancini took a punch in the third there, early in the third. Klimovich, when he got his roughing penalty, the guy had, like, in between Klimovich's hands, was holding his stick, like holding it.
Yeah.
For a good 30 seconds. But the thing is you got to keep your cool and just let go of your stick and skate away. Or let go of your stick and fall down. I don't know. Do something. But clearly you can't try and throw a punch because they're going to sell it. Like, Eagles are going deep into the dirty playbook, man. They're veterans, right? They've been around the block for a long time. A lot of these guys are lifetime AHLers. They also have the edge on these on any out of town team by playing here all year, training here, doing training camp, right? Like with the oxygen issue and the thinner air, being in Loveland, Colorado, or Loveland, Denver, or what? Loveland. Oh my God, yeah. Loveland, Colorado. Yeah. Like the Canucks have an oxygen tank on the bench, just to try and keep their legs. You can see it in the third where it starts to kind of wear, like they have to slow the game down. And it's unfortunate because the key is they got to get out to a good start in Colorado. And tonight, they tried. They got off to a poor start again. Got down 1-0. They tried to get the balance of the play back towards the end of the first. And then in the second period, like, they started out well, but then the reffing kind of took over in the second, and it was the difference, led to 2 goals. Now they're down 3-0, and then it's just frustrations start to boil over. You could see it, but both penalties that the Canucks took in the second period were frustrated penalties. Di Giuseppe throws a cross check because he's sick of being hacked and slashed and, sick of having his stick held. And then Klimovich gets his stick held, throws a punch. And Blay, they're all over Blay, kind of sticking him and slashing him. And he's trying to fight back. And it's tough too because Colorado's really good at choking out the middle. I mean, it was really tough for Abbotsford to generate shots early in this game. And it would sure be nice to have like Atu Ratu back feeding Lekkerimäki, having those two out there together on a line. But it's just tough when your offensive centerman is missing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't get me wrong, Sassen's great, but he doesn't have that authentic scoring touch that Atu Ratu has. Sassen has speed and grit, but he doesn't have that like nose for the net the way that Ratu does. And Lekkerimäki was trying to find his chances, but again, it comes down to who's feeding him, who's out there with him, right? Like he's not getting a lot of good passes. He's trying to generate a lot of it himself. So he's trying to be playmaker and shooter, which is a really tough job for a rookie in the AHL.
Mm-hmm.
And also the deeper these playoff goes, they're the longest seasons a lot of these guys have ever played. So, the wear and tear starts to grind on you. The playoffs is a different beast. At the end of the game there, Bane's in a pretty aggressive headlock. Like, that's going to hurt in the morning. That stuff adds up. And so they're going to have to be on the oxygen tanks probably hard tomorrow, I bet. There will be some definite like rehab procedures from this game. because of the short turnaround, playing at 2:00 in the afternoon on Monday. They're going to have to do their absolute best to rest up tomorrow and see what reinforcements maybe they can throw in Monday. Oh man, I hope like maybe Ratu's ready to go, or even Oman. Just someone better up the middle to help out Lekkerimäki with some of the playmaking and the offense. Because right now we kind of like, it feels like we have 3 third lines and 1 fourth line out there right now. And they're just grinding. They're doing their best, right, with what we got, but we're just missing a couple of guys on the forward core that could really help out. If Kudryavtsev isn't hurt, I'd like to see him get back in for a little bit of movement there. The first goal was just kind of McWard didn't continue on with his check around the back of the net. He did the trade-off. Wu falls down. And then there's a guy wide open to get his rebound. So that was really unfortunate. But they battled. They tried to battle through. They tried to battle through the reffing. They did get the 1 goal. I thought maybe if they could get one with like 3 minutes left, then maybe there was a chance. But after they didn't get it 3-2, I figured it was pretty much a wrap on the night. And hopefully they can just regroup. It's too bad that the streak of the penalty kill was ended, and their last that's their first regulation loss in the last 14 road games. So still some really incredible stuff out of this very young Abbotsford Canucks team, but they're meeting their match a little bit here with a gritty veteran team that's getting under their skin, taking advantage of the youth, and using home ice advantage now to their absolute advantage, being that they physically aren't going to feel the effects of the altitude as much as the Abbotsford Canucks are.
Yeah. And you mentioned Baines there too. Another point is Baines coming in with a puck. The Colorado player literally grabs him and throws him into the boards in the corner. No call, right? Like, it's just constant.
Yeah.
And like I said, even for these Abbey Canucks, Tristan Nielsen gets a 2-minute penalty for roughing after Mancini gets punched in the mouth. He touches the guy, actually preventing him because the guy's trying to attack his own player, and the guy just falls down, and then he's like, you just see him like one knee on the ice, just like he's in so much pain because he fell to the ice. It's like, get up, you little bitch.
Yeah, and I'm sure the 10-minute misconduct that came out of nowhere to Sammy Blais, like no one really even saw it happen.
Yeah.
I'm sure there were some words for the officials, and that's why he got that at 14 minutes, because there was no real other penalties or altercations going on at that time.
Yeah.
I'm sure he had a lot to say at the officiating. He's not shy.
Yeah.
He's vocal out there. He plays with raw emotion. He's one of those glue guys that I talked about that the big Canucks seem to lack. He drags everyone else into the fight, but he does it, with physicality and emotion. Garland tries to be that guy, but he doesn't. Obviously, he's like a quarter of the size of Blais. If you put those two next to each other, it makes Garland look like an action figure.
Yeah. Well, it was good to see too, like another guy that made his presence noticed, especially at the end there. Jujar Kerr driving the puck out from behind the net and getting kind of shoveling on net, allowing Nate Smith to get the goal. But we haven't really seen much from Jujar in this Colorado series, so it was good to see him finally get on the score sheet.
Yeah, and I hope next game, like I said, with the forwards, they can maybe shuffle around a bit. Blais, Kara, and Smith were really playing well together. And hopefully that's a line maybe they can go back to on Monday, and then add a little bit of speed, insulate a little bit of speed up with Lekkerimäki. Yeah, we'll have to see. I don't know. We'll have to see how Coach Malhotra adjusts here for sure. Couple of guys could be feeling some nicks and scratches from that game for sure. That was a rough one. But yeah, they're going to have to find a way to keep their emotions in check, find a way to ignore the Eagles' dirty stuff or get it noticed so that they're taking the penalties and you're not. Um, 9 times out of 10, I mean, you learn this in minor hockey, like 9 times out of 10, the retaliation gets caught and called rather than the first penalty. So you just have to have that patience, and it's tough. But you got to dig deep and have a thick skin and you know, take your shots when you know you can take them. Like if there's a for sure scrum and they're going to take, 2 guys, then yeah, get involved. But if they're coming at you hard with that dirty stuff, like holding the stick or, slashing and that, you got to just ignore it. It's playoff hockey, and you got to just carry on and find the net. And eventually, if you ignore them long enough, the penalties are going to fall in your favor.
I mean,
so we'll see.
Cross your
We'll see what
fingers
happens.
about that.
Yeah, you cross your fingers, but like they did have 2 power plays, right? Like you can't say they were completely negated of any power play chance. After that, there was really nothing. But
But the thing is, I don't think they even got a shot. They maybe had 1 shot between the 2 power plays, because I know the 1 power play they absolutely didn't get a shot. I think the other power play they got 1. So even when they did make it to the power play, it didn't end up getting anywhere. So and
no.
And when you have a power play like that where you don't even get a shot, it's almost like it sucks the life out of the team too, which I think you saw there in the second period, where then suddenly for 5 or 6 minutes, the puck was in the Abbotsford zone and Colorado was dominating after killing off a penalty.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, no, and then to start a period with a power play is always tough. Because you almost like to have the chopped up ice to slow the puck down a little bit when you're in the offensive zone. It's a little too easy to clear the puck on that fresh ice, and it gets away from you. So we will see. I mean, that's their first power play goal against in the playoffs, and actually it extended further than the playoffs. They had killed off, I think, 33 of their last 33. So it was even before the playoffs started that they had started that streak. So you can't really be upset that they gave up 1 tonight. Just gotta regroup. As far as we're concerned, we won game 1, lost game 2, won game 3, lost game 4, win game 5, right?
All you got to do. Would you be shocked if I told you that the 3 stars were all Colorado Eagles?
Not at all.
Who do you think
Not
they
in
chose?
The let's see here. Game-winning goal, Jason Magna. So that would probably be first star. And then who had? Oh, they probably gave it to the 3 goal scorers tonight.
Very close. Very, very close.
It snuck Trent Miner in there at the end.
Yeah. So Jean-Luc Fondy, make it so, gets the 2nd star with his 1 goal. He started the game off early. So, I mean, I almost kind of feel like he deserves it more than the 3rd goal, because it was an early goal, which really put Canucks back on their heels to start. And then Trent Miner, with the almost shutout, the gentleman shutout, shall we call it, gets the 3rd star of the game there. So, yeah, Jason Magna, former Canuck, number 1 star. There's the Canucks logic moment for the night.
Yeah, there you go. Always finds a way to bite you.
Another former Canuck coming back to haunt the organization.
Yep.
How important will it be for the Canucks to score the 1st goal in the next game?
Be huge. I mean, you see the way that crowd is. They're pretty dang rowdy. That like minute-long stand and cheer to start each period. You got to find a way to silence them quickly. And you got to push it into their end fast, and you got to hope Shilovs doesn't give up a week 1 early. That's pretty much it. They're going to have to try and expend as much energy as they can in the first period, getting a bit of a lead. And then they're going to have to hit the oxygen tanks in the intermission and do their best to keep that lead.
Is there any rule against wearing scuba tanks while playing?
I mean, I don't know if it's a certified hockey equipment.
Yeah.
It might also weigh you down a little bit,
True.
given that you're not underwater and taking the weight of it off a little bit with the buoyancy. So I don't know if it would even be an advantage at that point.
Now for Shilov's performance tonight, he does end up giving up 3. Out of the 3 goals, was there any ones that you think he'd want back?
Not really. I mean, tonight, maybe the first one he could have got over to the post a little better and hugged the post, but the second one just a bad clear by Hirose that kicks right out front and Magna wires it right by him, and then a power play goal that was a nice setup and clean up on the rebound. So, what can you do? It's a tough one.
We're not thinking
It was just a
Tolopilo
tough
gets
game.
to start in the next one.
No, I don't think so. I don't think I saw a poor enough game from Shilovs to go to Tolopilo.
Mm-hmm.
Not in a series clinching game, especially when he's put up shutouts in the first 2 series clinching games. I think you got to go with Shilovs, given that he's shown that he has that clutch gene, and hopefully the rest of the team can dig deep and find their clutch as well.
So we're hoping Ratu gets back, maybe maybe Amon, but I mean at this point, game 5, elimination game, and they haven't played in a while. Even if they get into the game, are you worried that maybe that rust is a little bit too much for them to jump right into a game 5 of the series?
It's hard to say. I mean, if you really want to take a chance, throw 6'6" Vilmer Ulrichsen in there.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, kid's a beast. He's probably chomping at the bit to play a game. He's on the roster.
I like the sounds of that. 6'6" Vilmer Ulrichsen. He's gonna be great.
Yeah, I think he's like 6'6", 220 already. Kid's
he's only
19
18
years old.
18, 19?
Yeah, 18 or 19 years old. He's 220 pounds and 6'6". Yes, please.
Big boy. Big boy.
Oh, I hope he turns into the power forward we need.
Do you think
either that or we trade for Tage Thompson?
Yeah, we can hope for that. Yeah, we were talking about that offline the other day. Do you think we get the same referees for the next game?
Hard to say. They usually rotate them a little bit. I don't know. I hope not. I hope not to see like it's nothing to do with, like just that one referee, number 42, he was not very good.
No.
Like not very good just in the sense of like managing a game. Nothing like ignore if it's Abbotsford in Colorado, ignore the fact that it's Canucks. Like I wouldn't have enjoyed this game just as a hockey fan. Like he clearly was favoring one team over the other. Either that or his thing is only calling retaliatory calls. Like, and so it's a weird. I got this weird sense that he has this ego. And the second the Canucks kind of started getting upset, he was going to kind of make it his mission to start calling more against them. And it just, that's how it felt to me. That it was a ref that felt he had been upstaged maybe a little bit by the Canucks or whatever. And then he was going to put them in their place. And he did that, I guess, in a sense, but that's where I get really frustrated with the fact that the rule book is pretty black and white, and there's for years there's been next to no accountability for officials at any level of hockey, and it's something that bothered me when I was an official. Like I held myself to a really high standard when I was officiating hockey because it's so important to, protect the integrity of the game and not make it about you. Like, and so many officials now make it about themselves. You see how many linesmen kick players out of the face-off dots, and they've been taking face-offs for their whole life. And it's like now all of a sudden out of nowhere, like the last 3 years in the NHL, all of a sudden the face-off tosses have gone up like probably 35%. Like it's unreal the number of times it happens across the league, not just when I watch the Canucks. And that filters down, right? Like all these AHL guys are feeders for the NFL or NHL officiating as well. Like this is their training ground. These guys are that's their next step. And so when you see some of these guys, it's like, ugh, like I really hope doesn't make the jump, right? And some of these guys don't. They end up making the jump to be a linesman. Like referees from the AHL will make the jump as a linesman to the NHL, but they don't make it as a referee. Yeah, I just think that it's become too protected. There's so much video evidence now that it's different than back in the old days where if a missed call happened, you could just shrug it off. Now the fans can see so much. They know the rule book. They know the rules. And when it is clear that officials are making their own interpretations of certain penalties and certain words that are written down in a, certified book, that gets really frustrating. Like for me as a fan, it makes it impure, the game, right? Like I just want to see it called fair both ways. Like absolutely, the Canucks penalties were penalties, but they were because they're retaliating to other penalties that are happening that weren't being called. And that's what makes me upset, right? Like if they're just doing that crap and getting penalties, then that's their own fault, right? Like it's just, yeah, it's a tough situation, and I wish there was more opportunity for refs to have to face the media and sometimes explain calls or stand up for what they did right or wrong. And I just think that's the next step for I mean, like it comes down to betting too, like in Vegas and stuff with sports betting, like they don't want officials controlling games because then you start to get suspicious about them, fixing games and things like that. So it's something that the NHL is definitely going to have to take a hard look at because of how popular sports betting is getting and all the advertisements you watch when you watch an NHL game is now sports betting stuff. So that's where I get really uppity about the officiating, and there needs to be more accountability now. Because there's people betting thousands of millions of dollars on hockey games nowadays, and when stuff like this happens, it just really taints it.
So the next game 5, happens on Monday. It's a 2:05 game because it's Memorial Day in the States. 2:05 in the afternoon. Dusty, are you around that day?
I will be around. Might not be around for post game. Because I do have to drive down to my U.S. Adaptive Open qualifier down in Tacoma. So I'll be leaving, late in the evening, probably around dinner time. So if the game ends before that, then I'll be around. But if not, I'll be around in the intermission. So we can probably have a chat then.
Yeah, let's figure it out. We'll maybe do a Rusty and Dusty sideshow then.
Yeah, no, that would be great. But yeah, I'll be around for portion of the game and then be taking off either before it ends or shortly after.
Cool. Anything you want to say to chat before I let you go?
Well, thank you as always for hanging out tonight. Tough loss, but I have confidence that these guys will get a good talk from coach and come up with a good game plan. The biggest key is getting a good rest. And so hopefully you guys can join us on Monday and we can get a big Canucks win and be celebrating and going into the next round. Appreciate the comments and everything, and we will talk to you all on Monday.
Awesome, Dustin. Enjoy the rest of the weekend, and we'll talk soon.
You as well. Have a great one, and we'll talk to you later.
Nothing is perfect.